Hey, what's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about 5 things I've seen in the preseason that are getting me excited for regular season basketball, as well as just basketball in general. What's up, guys? I'm Steven. Welcome to the channel. And today we're talking about 5 things that excite me from the preseason. All right, so number one is the Miami Heat. And when I'm talking about things that excite me or intrigues me, it's just what's going on for a certain team, for a certain player around the league that's making me really curious or prediction wise. And with the Heat, I'm really curious. This group of guys, obviously, they lost out on Damian Lillard. They still have their main contributors, of course, in Jimmy Butler, Bam, etc. Kevin Love, is going to be kind of a key contributor even in his old age there. But I'm curious if the random guys that we always talk about are going to show up again. So the other night, you saw guys such as Thomas Bryant, of course, the rookie Jaime Jaquez, Haywood Highsmith, and Cole Swider be big contributors in the preseason game. Of course, Thomas Bryant was on the Lakers for a stint last year, and LeBron James had him looking like prime Dwight Howard or something for a little bit. And then Cole Swider also spent his season with the Lakers. He spent a lot of time with the South Bay Lakers in the G League. The guy is an absolute sniper from three-point land. He can't do a lot of other things. His defense is his biggest issue, I would say. So I'm curious to see if somehow he can break into the rotation there in Miami and actually contribute some meaningful minutes. He is not that different than a Duncan. He's very similar to a Duncan Robinson build. He can drain the three. He's not going to play a ton of defense. He doesn't look incredibly athletic compared to the other players out there. Obviously, he's extremely athletic. He had 17 points, 5 for 9 from three-point land. Thomas Bryant played pretty well. Haywood Highsmith was on the team last year, and he had a few moments. So I'm curious if these are going to be the random Heat players who help them have a successful regular season or randomly show up in the playoffs like quite a few guys did last year. These guys would have to be your Max Strus and Gabe Vincents from the previous year or Cody Martin. I'm not sure if this group of guys is as good as those guys, but last year we were probably saying a similar thing. So, number two, I have Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was injured last year. He played a little bit. He did not look like the same Ben Simmons we've seen in the past. But a couple nights ago, he played maybe about a quarter's worth of minutes. Of course, it's the preseason. You're not going to expect these guys to play extended minutes. But he did have double-digit points in just the first half, and then he may have sat the second half. I don't think he played a ton. I only caught the first half of that game, but he looked a lot more fluid out there. He looked a lot more comfortable handling the ball. He wasn't looking afraid to get to the free throw line. Now I know it's the preseason, so it remains to be seen what he does once the regular season hits. But I'm really excited to see Ben Simmons. I really hope we see 76ers Ben Simmons kind of return. I would love if he returned to form. I would love to see him have a really great game against the 76ers and Joel Embiid. And I'm curious what the Nets ceiling is going to be if he shows up and he contributes a lot. He doesn't even have to be 76ers Ben Simmons, but if he's 75% of that guy, that's a huge asset for the Nets. Number three, THT. Of course, I'm a Lakers fan, so a lot of us remember THT getting that contract somewhat over Alex Caruso a few years ago, and then him really not panning out to be anything during his time with the Lakers. He spent a lot of time at the end of last season being the starting point guard for the Utah Jazz when a lot of players were injured and they were tanking games, and it looks like he's potentially going to be going into the season as the starting point guard for the Utah Jazz. And I'm really curious to see if he's going to take a big step this year and potentially earn some money for the future. He had 24 points and 7 assists in the preseason game the other night. He looked pretty good, of course. For all of this, there's always going to be that caveat that this is preseason. A lot of guys pop off in preseason and then do nothing in the regular season. But THT is going to get a lot of minutes. He's playing on the Utah Jazz, who play a really good team style of basketball. So I'm excited to see if he can take that next step this year and see what happens with him. As a Lakers fan, I would love to see him succeed there in Utah. He never quite had the right opportunity on the Los Angeles Lakers, and I don't know if anyone really expected him to be a starting point guard caliber of player, but it's looking like that might be what he is this year in Utah. Number four, Chet Holmgren versus Victor Wembanyama. They faced off the other night in what is kind of like, feels like the media wants to make it a rivalry, but neither of the guys are saying it's a rivalry, because why would it be? They're just two tall, lanky dudes who are 7 feet tall who can do some similar things on the court. But it was really fun to watch. They both had over 20 points, both shot the 3 ball, both played some defense. They're looking like they're going to be pretty good rim protectors, both of them. Victor Wembanyama is ginormous. It's crazy to see him swipe across the court to go for steals. He's just a massive human being. But the thing that intrigues me most about Victor Wembanyama and the Chet Holmgren, both of these two players, is the Thunder were really good last year. Or I shouldn't say they were really good, but the Thunder were pretty good last year. You know, they had J-Dub, of course Shea, they got Josh Giddey. So adding in Chet Holmgren to the mix is going to be a big deal. If he can average 20 points or even somewhere in the teens and he can protect the rim, that's a huge addition for the Thunder. And what is the Thunder ceiling if Chet Holmgren plays that well in the regular season? Are the Thunder a top 6 seed all of a sudden, top 5 seed? It's going to be tough for them probably to get higher than top 4, top 5. You got the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Suns, maybe the Clippers, the Warriors. But it would be pretty impressive if Chet comes, who, by the way, Chet Holmgren is my Rookie of the Year pick, which maybe, not that a lot of people have Chet Holmgren, but he is going to get less opportunities probably than Vic, so maybe I should go with Victor just based on usage. But I'm going with Chet Holmgren. I just think he's going to be a little bit more polished because he's been on the bench for a year watching NBA games. But I'm really excited to see him with the starting lineup and how good the Thunder are going to be this year. I think they're going to take a step from last year, make the playoffs, and it's a really exciting time to be a Thunder fan. And lastly, number 5 on my list is the international stage. You can tell during this preseason the NBA is doing a lot to try and expand the game internationally. There's multiple preseason games against international teams. You had Real Madrid, you're going to have a team from Israel playing, you had a team from New Zealand, a team from the Australian Basketball League, I believe. So that's 4 teams. Real Madrid beat the Mavericks as well. I mean, obviously, Luka Doncic played limited minutes, but they did get a win, which is really cool for them. And it's fun to see all of these international teams play against NBA teams in the preseason, because it brings those teams a lot of times, either the American team is traveling internationally to play or vice versa, and those fans of those international teams get to watch the NBA talent. They get to watch their teams go up against the NBA players, and most of all, it puts more eyes on the NBA. The NBA is doing an amazing job of trying to grow the game internationally, which is going to lead to revenue growth, which is going to lead to, of course, more money for the players and more money for the media, more money for everyone all around, but it's also going to lead to a better product for you and I to consume, and it's going to lead to expansion. It's going to lead to that Seattle team, that Las Vegas team. They also had the NBA Canada games and the Abu Dhabi games, and hopefully one day we do get another team up there in Canada, whether it be the return to Vancouver or maybe entering the Montreal market or Ottawa, wherever they do enter. It would probably be Vancouver, I would guess, but that's besides the point. I'm just really excited as the international game has continued to advance. Really excited for the Paris Olympics coming up in 2024 and everything that's going to come with that, with Joel Embiid committing to the U.S. and just the potentially really stacked U.S. team that's going to show up to the Olympics. But anyway, guys, those are my 5 things that are intriguing me about the upcoming season from the preseason. What's intriguing you guys? What's getting you excited to watch this upcoming season? I'm sure it's not too difficult to get excited. I know it's easy for me. But if you guys like the video, subscribe below. We'll have more coming in the future, and I appreciate you guys watching. Later.